What's up, ladies? Welcome to another episode of the Revitalized Womanhood podcast. I'm so excited to have back round two, my friend, Kristi Dear, the mindset chick. Hello, Kristi. Welcome back.
Hi, Gina. Thanks for having me.
You
happy
bet.
to be back.
You look so happy and cheerful. Your pink background, your pink shirt, your pink hair. You're just so cheerful.
It's all pink.
It's all pink. It's all pink. No, you can't help but smile, though.
That's true. That's what I think. Like, I'm surrounded by pink, and I can't help but smile. So it cheers me up. Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. So we talked a lot about mindset and mindset coaching in our last episode. But like I was just saying, it doesn't matter because I think that there is never enough talk about mindset coaching. Mindset is one of the pillars, I believe, for a good, strong foundation in a successful life. I think you have to have mindset, growth mindset, whatever kind of mindset you want to say, call it positive mindset, growth mindset, whatever it is. I think that for me, so far in my experience, in my work I've been doing, mindset and self-confidence, I think are the two pillars that really cement the foundation for a successful and happy life. And without those, I think that's where you have to start, is the working on how to develop the growth mindset. So where do you start with people when they come to you? Do you usually get an audience that is fairly stable in growth mindset, or do you get some that are new to the concept?
Those are great questions. So who I normally attract are both. Some people are like, I've been following you for a while. I've been putting your practices into place, and I'm noticing a shift. I'm feeling better. I'm kind of new to this, but something is changing. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to have more hope. I'm starting to feel more confident. Like things are starting to work out. I'm seeing more blessings and miracles. And I have some people who are like, hey, I've been working on these practices. I know about manifesting. I know about mindset. I know about, your thoughts create things, and be mindful about what you focus on and what you think about. But then I have these thoughts that trip me up, or I have these challenges in my life that come and I feel like try to knock me down. And then I don't know how to pick myself back up. So how do you stay in a positive mindset? And I say, well, honestly, it may look like it because I am smiling. I am happy to be here. I'm on my lives, and I'm happy. For the most part, I wake up really, really happy and excited about the day, but not every day is perfect. And I have challenges, and I have times when life just tries to come at me, and maybe somebody said something or something's happened and I get tripped up in my head. So the first thing that I do, whether that person is new or it's been doing the practices for a while, is the first step is to be aware. And really that's the first step, like just to be aware of your thoughts, to be aware that maybe you don't like where you are, or that you don't like where you are. Like that's the first step, because most people just live their life on Groundhog's Day, like just, I don't like where I am, but they just keep doing the same thing every day, the same action steps, the same thinking, the same habits, all that stuff. And they keep just living in a circle like Groundhog's Day, and they never get out of it, and they don't know how to get out of it, and they don't know that they can get out of it. So the first step is awareness.
I was just watching.
Yeah.
I love that. I actually love that. And so we're going to talk about your newest book that came out this year called It's Time to Get Unstuck and Live a Rich and Abundant Life. And I love, there it is. Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the title. But yes,
Manifest Your Rich Life Now.
Yes. And I'm going to describe that title too.
So, but I love that I actually had a question around this, and I love that you say this in your kind of description on Amazon, whatever, but you say not just a guide, but a manual for reshaping your reality. And the question, and maybe not even a question, but what I wanted to say is, like you're saying, the first step is awareness. I think the first step is awareness and acceptance of what your reality actually is. Like you have to be super mindful and self-aware of looking around and saying, I may be sitting in the suck, but that's because this is my fault. Like, yes, there are things outside of our control that happen to us, but how we respond to them is in our control. Yeah. So I really love that you talk about reshaping your reality, because I think it has to start by being mindful and aware of what your reality actually is.
Yeah. And you said it perfectly. I love that you also said accept and, make peace. That's another thing too, make peace. A lot of times we're fighting against what we don't want. And whatever we give our attention to grows. So if we give our attention to things that we don't want in our life, that grows. And we may be thinking, well, I don't want that, so I'm trying to fight against it. I'm trying to move away from it. I'm trying to say, I don't want that. I want something different. But the momentum and the majority of our thoughts, sometimes without realizing it, are in lack, are in the struggle of what's not working. And we're just inviting more of that into our lives, and we're feeling like crap, and we're beating ourselves up. And then it's that loop over and over and over. And that's when we feel stuck and we feel like we can't get out. So like, make peace or where you are. And I've said this before to a lot of my clients and my team. I'm like, you are where you are, and that's okay. You are where you are, and that's okay. Like that's
I love that next step to it. So it does. So identifying it, checking it out, making yourself aware of it, and giving yourself grace to say, hey, this is just a chapter in a book of life. This is just a chapter. And now it's up to me to determine which way this goes, which way this story starts to write itself. Yeah.
And when I first found out about this information, these mindset tools and practices, I was in my early 20s. I'm 47 now, so I've been using these practices for a while. They've gotten better as I've gotten older. But in the beginning, I got really frustrated when I read something that said, your thoughts create things. And like you mentioned, you are where you are because of the way you've responded or your certain actions or your choices. And I got really kind of offended, like
triggered.
I read, triggered. Thank you. That's a good word.
Right.
I was like, I didn't ask for this. I have been praying my whole life to get out of this. I have been praying to get out of the struggle. I have been praying for things to be different. I didn't ask for this. But then it also created that empowerment, thinking, okay, if I thought myself to these certain circumstances, if I have been contributing to where I am, then I can also get myself out. And that's what I started doing. I read this scripture that says, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's so many scriptures that talk about this, and I was just blown away. And I thought, okay, well, what else do I have to lose? My husband's working 2 jobs. We have 2 little babies. By the time I was 25, I never see them. We're broke. We're struggling. I was severely depressed. I didn't have friends. And I thought, well, I'm just going to give it a try. Why not? It says it works. It says that, abundance is our birthright. Things that I was reading. I started reading Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and Catherine Ponder, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, which is one of my favorite books. And it was talking about affirmations. And, I love that I learned that the words after I am follow you. So it's like thinking about that. We do affirmations all the time, but a lot of times it's I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I don't do enough. I don't have enough money.
Lack.
Or I am. Yeah. I am. Maybe. I don't even want to say it, but we say things like I am ugly, I'm fat, things like that. So we're affirming things. So I just started switching it to things that I did want in my life. I stopped complaining as much. I started appreciating more, and things started shifting in our lives. And I thought, oh my gosh, this really works. And I started feeling better. And then when you feel better, like you were talking about self-confidence, when you feel better and you're happier and you start to become happier and you start focusing on what is going right in your life, then people and things around you start responding different. So it's a trickle effect on every level.
And it's the law of magnetism, I think. I think when you see somebody or talk to somebody and they've got this kind of like, slumped, victim. You can just tell the energy they're putting off is they've been beaten down, they've given up, whatever. You can tell, and you don't, I'm not saying that you try to not be around people like that, but you kind of do. It's an energy. You're not drawn to people like that. But when people are feeling good about themselves, they're taking control of their own lives, they're confident, you know what I mean? It's an energy, and you are attracted to those kind of people. If you go anywhere, you could do it as an easy, what's the word? Experiment. You could actually do it as an experiment. You could go to Target and you could notice the people as you walk by each different person and say to yourself, am I attracting to this person for some reason? Well, what's that reason? And take note of what the reason is. Well, this one, maybe you're not, because she's just drowning in little kids screaming and begging for things, and she looks like she just needs a break. And some self-care. You're not going to be attracted. I've been there. Oh my gosh. How many times have I let me help you. Can I please help you grocery shop, please? You go out in the car. Give me your list. You go out in the car and sit in the car, and I will grocery shop for you while you take a break. No, or you see someone else versus that you can tell that they put some effort into themselves today. They put on this outfit, they did their hair a certain way, and they're just feeling good about themselves. You can tell the difference. It's an energy. So I don't know where I was going with that. Where was I going? We had a reason for that.
I don't even remember. But you attract things into your life based on how you feel, your energy. And I was going to say, you are some of the 5 people you hang out with. And something else, and something else for anyone listening who has a business, who is working on growing their business. This is what I talk to my team and clients about too. A lot of times people, with their energy, they're like, well, I want to build a business. I want to attract the right people to my business, but they don't have the energy. They're not embodying the energy that they want. They're like, oh, I want a rock star. I want somebody fun. I want somebody who's positive, but maybe they're extremely negative. They're in jealousy. They're in gossip. And I'm like, well, let's first work. That's why mindset is the first step. Like you said, let's work on the self-development, embodying that with what you want to attract. Become that you want to attract into your life. Become that energy, right? Embody that. So I love what Wayne Dyer says. He says we don't attract what we want into our life, because a lot of times people think, oh, manifesting, you're just attracting all these things that you want. Well, what I love that he says, and this is what I believe, you attract who you are, not what you want. So if you want things different in your life, you have to become somebody different. You have to think differently. You have to have a different energy. And that's why people who are at a more grateful and appreciative state of mind attract more blessings, more miracles. Things just start working out easier. They attract more synchronicities. And those who are angry, stuck in jealousy, hate, they seem to always have a lot of problems, a lot of hard times. They're forcing, and things aren't going right for them, and somebody owes them money, or somebody cut them off, or somebody betrayed them, and you can just tell. And it's not necessarily that just because somebody's like that, they're a bad person. It's that they're stuck in that energy, and so they're attracting more experiences. They're just attracting more of who they are. And that's something to really, understand in this whole thing. That's why self-development is so important. That's why mindset's so important. It's like, before you want to have a more rich or blessed life, or make more money in your business, or have more success, it starts with you. It starts with thinking different,
right?
Focusing different, all that, showing up different, all that stuff.
So when you meet the people that are on this end of the spectrum, that are new to mindset, right? Are new to embracing these concepts, because I like what you're saying about manifesting, because someone that's new to this concept hears people that talk about manifestation, and it's like, oh, if I think it, it will happen. No, that's not manifesting. That is having a idealized vision or goal, and that's great, and that's a good step, but that's not manifesting. But so when you get these people who are on this end that just are new to the whole concept, how do you, because, it's like people who aren't good at receiving compliments because they don't have that self-confidence. Here's where self-confidence comes in as well. Like, say a person that I can see, that I meet, and I see these amazing things about them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so good at this, you're so good at this. But people who are not confident in themselves, don't have that self-confidence. They're not used to hearing that because they're not used to giving themselves compliments. They're not used to, being able to accept it. So it's kind of shocking. It's kind of jarring. And it comes off as even, like it's not true. Like you're not being truthful and genuine, right? Because they can't hear it because they aren't in a place of that kind of self-love yet, self-confidence. With mindset, it's kind of the same thing. If you meet someone who is in this dark place, who is in this woe is me, victim mentality, that life has done this to me, right? And you're trying to say these concepts of mindset, gratitude, abundance, right?
Yeah.
How do you do that without just shocking their nervous system?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, so I would say start small, just like I did, because I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't believe in it. I would have argued with somebody a lot if they would have told me, hey, just start thinking positive, being in a more grateful state of mind and your world will start changing. I would not have believed someone if they told me that, because I was so conditioned to think a certain way. And see, what people need to understand too and realize is that thinking is a habit, just like any other habits that you have, getting up, brushing your teeth, your daily habits. Thinking is a habit, and depending on the way we think, we have different neural pathways in our brains. And when people start shifting their thoughts from negative to positive, their neural pathways in their brain will start actually changing. There was a study on that under a CT scan, which is really cool. But I would say to somebody, just give yourself grace. It's like if you were going to start eating healthier or working out. So don't go 0 to 100, just go 0 to 1. So if you're ready for a shift, if you're ready to start experiencing more blessings or just be happier, wake up feeling better, wake up being more excited about your life, like not fighting as much with your loved ones, having things just having your world seem better, then I would say the first step is just to create a new habit. When you wake up in the morning, just think of one thing you're grateful for. And sometimes most of us don't even do that. We get up, we get our alarm. Oh my gosh, the day, the kids, it's so long. I have so much to do. But if we just stopped and even running water, roof over your head, thank you, God, for another day. Thank you, God, for my pillow and my blanket. It could just be one thing. I like to do 3, but it could be one thing. And then you just catch yourself during the day. That's it. I would say just start off slow. Just catch yourself and start thinking about what you're thinking about. Because a lot of that, like I said, it's a habit, right? So those thoughts are on repeat. Most of us, we have about 70,000 thoughts a day, and most of 80% of those are negative. And then most of those are repeat from the previous day and the previous day. So they're all habits. So if you become aware, like the first step, and you catch yourself going, today's going to be difficult. Oh my gosh, wow, I really said that. Okay, well, let me just challenge myself. This is new to me, but how would I like to see my day? But just start very, very slow, right? Okay, well, I would like to have an easier day. Okay, well, every day is getting easier. Or, just shifting it to maybe something that you want to go right, something small, but just being aware of what you're saying on repeat, just trying to shift it as much as possible. You don't have to go from I'm ugly and fat to like I'm, very slim and beautiful, even though that's a better way to talk to yourself. But you could say, you know what, I'm embracing, instead of looking at yourself in the mirror, beating yourself up and looking at your wrinkles and your imperfections, you could just look at yourself and say, wow, find something you love about yourself. Oh, I love my eyes. And it could just be one simple thing. Or, hey, I love my hands because I could do my hair. I mean, goodness. I mean, we have arms, we have hands.
Thank you for waking up and being alive. Thank you, period. Just start
thank
there.
you. It could be super simple. Yeah. It could be so simple. We make it complicated.
We do. I learned that from Seth Studley. I had Seth Studley on here years ago when I first started, and he said, and it's stuck with me forever, and I say it to everyone about it, but he says, when I first get out of bed, when my feet hit the floor, it's thank you. Thank you. And he says that is just this encompassed all around thank you. And in my heart, I know it's thank you for my wife. Thank you for my children. Thank you for our health. Thank you for our blessings. And it's just that powerful motion of each foot hitting the floor and saying thank you. He's thanking God for his blessings. And that's a perfect place to even start. I'm so glad you said gratitude, because I cannot say enough about gratitude. Find the things in your life that you're grateful for. There is so much in this life to be grateful for. If you live in America, you have so much to be grateful for. You know, it's like we are so spoiled, right? With all of these amazing blessings in this day and age. And all we do is, because we see other people's blessings and we view them differently than our own, it's like we operate, instead of being grateful for what we have, we operate from a place of lack, right? And it's like you're saying, you start focusing on the negativity. And like you said, as a man thinketh, so is he. It's your thoughts create your emotions, create your actions. Your thoughts literally control what you do. They control your actions. So imagine you're in a traffic jam or whatever, and someone cuts you off and you're like, oh my gosh, you idiot. And then what emotion do you feel? You're angry. And then what's that going to cause you to do? Cut somebody else off or speed or slam on your brakes, right? But if you can control that first instant to think, hey, I'm in traffic. You know what? This is a perfect opportunity to catch up on a podcast that I've been wanting to do. And then you put your mind into a totally different space. And then if someone cuts you off, you're like, oh, sorry, buddy, it's fine. You got this. You know.
That's something I've been practicing for
a very long
time. Yes, very long time. Still working on that, but I've gotten a lot better. Just like bless and release, right? Bless and release.
Right.
But that's interesting. You talked about, I put that in my book about the thank you. I put that in my book. Cool. Yeah. So when you said that, I was like, yes, your feet hit the floor.
That's awesome.
I love that. Yeah. Gratitude, all the things. It makes a huge difference.
But I want to talk about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just, go ahead.
Well, I want to talk about, so we talked about manifesting and how people that don't understand it kind of maybe view it as like, if I think it, I get it type of a thing. But I want to talk about extreme ownership of your actions. Like manifesting is not going to just happen. We all know, we're all like, come on, I can't just wish for $1 million and boom, I'm going to get $1 million. There's some action steps in between me saying, oh, sorry, just it'll come back.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so you're talking about manifesting and the action steps.
Yeah, there's action steps in between thinking it and having things happen, right? Let's talk about like taking ownership of our actions to get to there.
So first off, what I like to say, and it's in the book, manifesting is really the art of bringing into your reality what you believe and have faith is possible. And that's how I like to describe it. And so our thoughts become our beliefs. So every time we have a thought, we have another thought, like I talked about, it's like a habit. It becomes your belief. And whatever we really believe on a deep core level, and that energy, like I mentioned, we attract into our life. And manifesting is really just what we put out, we get back. But the steps that I have in my book is really a process. So it's know what you desire to create in your life. And if you don't know, a good way to figure that out is to think about what do I not like? If I don't want this, think about what you don't want is what I'm trying to say. And then you can write down next to it the opposite. If you're like, I don't really want to be broke. Okay, well, how much money would I like to have? And then the second step is clean out the mental junk. So that's really taking ownership of your thoughts and what you've been thinking about. And if you have any unresolved, unforgiveness, any resentment, if you're holding on to anything, so you're taking ownership of that. That's the second step in manifesting. And then the third step is hold on, maybe you can cut this.
No, you're good.
Like, okay. The third step is pour gratitude over it, like we just talked about. So
Right.
You're just pouring gratitude over everything. You're pouring gratitude over everything that you have in your life right now, like we just mentioned, but you're also pouring gratitude over things that you desire to have. And then the fourth step is you're showing up, you're taking inspired action. So what I like to say is, instead of just taking action, you're taking inspired action. So you're taking action in alignment with your thoughts, with your beliefs, how you're showing up. And then the fifth step is you're opening up to receive it. And that's the fun in this book, because that is when you are showing up as if things have already happened. Like you're embodying it. You're playing a game. You're getting excited about it. You're thinking, oh my gosh, let's imagine maybe you're wanting to go on this family vacation. You're not sure how it's possible. You're thinking about it. You're like, planning it in your mind. You're like, wow, it's going to be so much fun to be at the beach with my family and going out to these fun dinners and spending this quality time. And that's really the fun part. And it's a lot of visualization, a lot of, by the time you get to that part in the book, the 5 steps, you're cultivating that belief that it's possible, and you'll start seeing things show up in your life differently. So that's how I'd say manifesting is, like the steps in between, because like I mentioned, like you said, you can't just think it and it happens. You're going to attract into your life what you believe. So if you have constant thoughts of lack mindset, things don't work out for me, that's the momentum. That's your deep core belief. You can't just think a couple thoughts and it's going to happen. You have to really change who you are. You have to really let go of resentment. You have to have gratitude. You have to show up, take inspired action, be willing to do the work. But that's one thing that I don't believe in, burning yourself out and having to work 12 hours a day to be successful and have the income that you want. I believe that there's like a ebb and flow, like a give and take. There's times to show up and there's a time to lean back and allow God to bring you the right people and things to make your goals and dreams a reality.
I have this beautiful member in my community. She's the oldest member in here. I posed a question, and I don't have it here, so this isn't going to be as beautifully thought out as it could be, I guess. But she said that she's pretty much just giving over, I think it's something like, how do you battle the anxieties that you had when you first came to the sisterhood or something, because we all have an anxiety. We have an anxiety over being self-conscious, getting on Zoom calls, or we have an anxiety over sharing vulnerabilities with other people. We have anxieties over being embarrassed in front of other people, whatever, right? We all have these different anxieties. And I think I asked something like along the lines of that. And she said, I had to just accept that I was going to go with whatever life was throwing at me, just go with it, because it wasn't up to me. I had to have faith that I was on the path that I should be on, and that there was a bigger plan. God had a bigger plan. And I have to just have faith in that, which I actually love that so much. But I will take it one step further and pair it with, I can have faith in whatever higher power, but also that confidence in myself that even if things are bad, or even if things find themselves in a place where illness, or, we've lost our home, we lost everything, right? I know, I trust myself, and I guess your higher power, whatever, to know that I have the strength, that I will be okay. I'm not okay now. You know what I mean? Like, you can say that, you can admit, like, I'm not okay now, but I will be okay. I trust myself. I have faith in myself. I have faith in the bigger picture that I will be okay. And just letting that kind of be a foundation.
Yeah, we have to, yes. We have to surrender. We have to surrender to, like, another thing that I like to say is this or something better will come my way. And I believe that our dreams and desires, when they're not out to harm or hurt anybody, right? So I'm not talking about anything like that, not out to harm or hurt, but our dreams and desires that we want to bring into our life. Yeah, I believe they're God's way. They're God's, you know, God put them on our heart. And so when we desire to create them or bring them to reality, we're just expressing more of Him when it comes from a grateful heart, when it comes from a good place, when it comes from loving, you know, making more money, having a more successful business. You could take that money, you could give back, you could do more volunteer work, you could help more people. Like, there's such a great way to look at things. And I think that, but we also have to surrender. I think that when we set that intention, this is what I desire to have in my life. I desire to go on a family vacation, or I desire to have this success in my business, but I'm also going to surrender that this or something better is going to come into my life, because I believe that abundance is my birthright. I believe that God wants to bless us. I mean, the other scripture is, I have plans to prosper you, not harm you. Everything's working out for God's will and for we may not understand it, but the greater good of everyone. And I have a chapter in this book talking about blessing the struggle. And I won't get into it too much on this podcast because it's very emotional. It's very tough. But last year when I was about to, a couple things actually happened. But one of the things is, when I was about to finish this book, my 16-year-old got in a very horrific car accident. And I wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be when I pulled up to the scene. And we spent 2 weeks in the hospital. And everything that I had on my agenda, I was going to get my book out, I was going to do this, I was going to do that, I was going to go on this trip that I was going to earn from my beauty company, all these things that definitely got put on hold. And the journey for our lives as a family was totally different. And I had to accept that. And even though it was tough for all of us, accept that for some reason this was meant to happen. And I had to use that. I'm not saying that had to be positive all the time. I could definitely have my emotions and sadness, but also not get stuck there and say, okay, God, how can we use this for good? Like, what's the message here? How can we, and I really focused, I really did. Like, it was very, very hard, but it also brought my daughter and I so much closer together. There was other people that I was able to mentor and touch and talk with, because they've been through some similar experiences, and vice versa. Now I just have a newfound respect for doctors and nurses and anybody going through a trauma like that. So there was just so many things that came out of that were just needed for all of us, you know?
And the difference between that versus someone has the same experience and sits and says, why did you do this to me? Why is this happening to me? What good can come of this? What, you know what I mean? There's a complete difference there I think it's obviously it's mindset. It's what we're talking about. It's mindset and gratitude. It's being able to see that we don't know what this life is supposed to have in store for us, right? We don't know. You can make as many plans as you want. And that's why there's the saying, tell God your plans. You can make as many plans as you want. They don't always go the way that you think, but you still end up, it's like, what's the journey? It's about the journey, not the destination, because you can have a destination. How you get there is completely different. But you always can end up at the same place. But how you get there could be a million different ways.
Yeah, and that's why in manifesting, you'll hear a lot of people say, surrender the how. And people may think, well, what do you mean? If I want to make more money, or if I want to do X, Y, and Z, I need to make it happen. And when you say, I need to make it happen, I have to do it. I believe, that's leading with ego. And Wayne Dyer said that's edge God out. So you're saying, I have to do it. And you're not allowing God, divine guidance to to give you ideas or inspiration or the, synchronicities or the right people or things into your life to have things happen. But we have to surrender the how. We don't know all the ways. There could be a multitude of ways that your dreams and desires could come to life. Like we can't even think that big, right? So it's like surrendering that. We don't always have to know the how. We just have to hold the faith and belief that good things can happen and things can get easier. And as hard as it is, if you're going through a tough time, knowing that, everything's working out for you, right? As soon as another thing, and I'm not trying to talk about the negative, but just the things that had happened, right? When I was getting this book out, my father passed away, and it was just a lot of things hit me in the last few months of working on getting this book out and all these big dreams. I felt like it was, that's life, accident and my father passing, but things were just really trying to get me down. Like,
right at that moment.
Don't help people. Don't get your book published. Don't be positive. Stay in your sorrow, stay in your blame, stay in your, why did this have to happen? Right. His passing was very tragic and sudden. So it was just all these trauma things that I was going through. But like you said, we can use that. You could definitely take time to feel your emotions. Don't, you don't have to just, glaze over them. Feel those emotions, have them come up, cry, all those things, let it out. That's a normal part of life, but also know you don't have to stay stuck there. And you can move forward, and life can be good. And when you switch that into how can I release the pain and just focus on the good and the positive and the gratitude, it just makes everything better, and it helps you to feel better. And that's the biggest thing. It just helps you to get through life feeling better. And then when you feel better, then you're nicer to other people, and then it's a trickle effect, and then you're driving down the street and maybe you don't want to cut somebody off because you're not in that mindset. And then you're not irritating that person. Maybe you're letting the person go, or you're buying somebody behind you in the drive-through line something. So, everything is a trickle effect, and it's like we want to change the world. Stop blaming everybody else, pointing fingers and telling people they need to change. You need to change. Right. Change yourself, and you'll see a change in the world, right?
Stop taking on other people. So the one thing I see a lot is taking on other people's drama as your own, not being able to disconnect the fact that someone else is having an emotion. Someone else is having something happen to them. You're okay to be part of it. It's okay to stand there and be a human being and be part of it without taking it on and taking it personally. And, I think that starts down right there at the beginning of being aware of what your reality is. And if you're holding on to these things like hate and jealousy and gossip, you're allowing other people's stuff to stick to you and hang on you where it doesn't need to, has nothing to do with you. Even if someone is yelling directly at you, telling you you're a piece of crap, it still has nothing to do with you. That is one person's emotion that they're having very outwardly. It still has nothing to do with you. How do you help people understand that? Because I think that's part of that self-awareness and part of that awareness of your reality.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that definitely can be tough when somebody's yelling right at you, because it can feel very, very, very personal. And I think especially if it's like a loved one or somebody you really care about. But just know, I think the first step is know that hurt people hurt people. So when somebody is maybe saying those things to you, it's really about them, not about you, even though it can feel personal. It's really about them and where they are, because if somebody was in a good place, if they were in the right mindset, if they were living from a place of gratitude, if they were living from a place of, wow, this happened to me today and it really sucked, but maybe it happened for this reason. Or, man, I hit every red light on the way to work. maybe it was God stopping me from getting in an accident, something like that. Like if they had that mindset, they're probably not going to go scream and yell at you and call you names. So if you kind of understand it like that. And then also I talk about in my book, about working on your beliefs and your clearing and, get, like I said, release the mental junk and stuff like that. And I talk about this analogy, like if somebody came, you're walking down the street and somebody was like, talk to you and they're like, hey, you have red hair. It looks ugly. You have red hair. You would probably say, what in the world? I don't have red hair. I have brown hair. That's so weird. So you would have absolute belief that you don't have red hair. But if somebody came by you and said, hey, you're stupid. And if you had any bit of
your own limiting belief
that was true, like if you didn't have that confidence, if you really thought, I'm not stupid, I'm actually really smart. If you had any kind of thought that, yeah, I am stupid, and they said that would trigger you and that would cause a response. And so in the book, in this chapter, I have like identifying those limiting beliefs and working on those to clear those. And then you will also be less triggered if or when somebody does speak rude to you or yell at you. You would really know that it's more about them because you would clear a lot of that. And sometimes, this is very interesting, sometimes we tend to attract people into our life that pulls out those triggers. Because what I've learned is it's our body's way of wanting to clear them, wanting to bring them to the surface. So a lot of times we get triggered, we act out, have a fight, apologize, but it keeps happening again and again. But what if that person pulled that out?
That sounds like a self-sabotage cycle.
Yeah. And we realize, okay, it's really not about me, it's about them. But that really pissed me off that they said that. And I'm really angry. Then start to work on yourself. Why did that make me mad that they called me ugly or stupid? Why would that? Because there must be some kind of belief in there about myself about that. And then getting really clear on releasing that limiting beliefs will help healing too, and realize like, hey, maybe that was meant to be so that I could identify where I need to grow and heal.
I've talked about this so many times in my community where this kind of work that you do, this kind of work that we're talking about, and reading books that help you like self-discovery on this journey. We just got done reading The Mountain Is You by Brianna Weiss, and it is like unbelievable. And so I kept saying this kind of work is annoying. Honestly, it really is. It truly is annoying because once you become so self-aware that every single thought you have, you're identifying, you're thinking about, you're stopping before it processes through to an emotion, or you're stopping it after it processes it. You know what I mean? This kind of work is not instant. It becomes truly annoying. But if you think about it, how cool is it that then you realize in what is annoying is the magic happening, is the work that you're doing. You are actually doing the things that you're hearing all these people talk about on podcasts. You're hearing us talk about right now. This is mindset where, oh, wait a minute. You're stopping yourself and catching the moments of, oh, this is implementation. This is me actually using this information that I've absorbed from somewhere. And you just caught yourself doing it. Yeah. I think that's really funny.
Yeah, that's really good. It's like peeling back an onion layer after layer.
Yeah.
After layer.
But it's like a vicious cycle.
Yeah. I feel like it can, but yes, sometimes.
I think it gets worse, but then it gets better.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Can get very ugly first.
Get worse. Yeah, and I feel like if there's things for you to clear and you haven't done the work, then they'll get louder and louder and louder, and that's when it can really become ugly. And you're like, okay, I get it. I need to clear this. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to bring this up because it's actually the whole conversation we're having is exactly what my monthly topic in my community is this month, and it's that we are all creators. And so this is absolutely totally aligned with that, but I wanted to stay on topic of your book and highlight your book. But what is your opinion about that in saying with what you do? And I feel like it totally aligns with your book, that we are all creators. And like we said in the beginning, is you first have to just make peace with that. Like, realize that this is me. I am the creator. I'm creating whatever it is that comes next. What do you think about that?
No, I absolutely believe that. I mean, I absolutely believe that. I believe in the law of attraction, which is a universal law that governs our universe that says like attracts like. And so basically, like we talked about, we bring into our life what we believe and have faith is possible, and what we put out. When we put out love, we receive more love back. When we put out hate, we receive more experiences to be hated or judged. And so I think that's how you could break down being a creator. When people say, what do you mean creator? Break it down by like, we're creating experiences in our life based on our beliefs, based on how we show up, based on what we focus on, what we think about. What we think about over and over becomes our deep core root-seated beliefs. And so that energy, and we're creating. And I always say to people who are maybe just starting, just try it. Just try it for 7 days. Just try to do the thank you gratitude. Try to work on thinking about what you're thinking about. Shift some things from negative to positive. Complain less, appreciate more. And get a journal and start taking note of the things that are happening. And look for everything. Look for, it could be little things. It could be somebody, let's say, I like to look for things everywhere. It could be you're at the grocery store and you're checking out and you look at the total and you're like, oh man, okay, the total is that much. I went over a little bit. I think we can all relate, right? Oh man, how did I calculate that wrong? And then the person at the checkout is like, oh, there's a coupon, there's a store coupon, or, oh, this is a discount, whatever it is. And they end up giving you that discount. That's happened to me several times. And I always say, a prayer of thanks. Thank you, God. Wow. Thank you. I just saved $20. Thank you, God, for reminding me how blessed and abundant that we all are, and how blessings can just find us, and how that we are really the creator. And when we, of our experiences, when we're nice and kind and grateful and loving, and we believe that the world can be kind and loving towards us, that we just receive, that was kind of the cashier to do that for me. So that was kind. They didn't have to do that. And if I would have showed up all grumpy and angry, like, hey, up, you're going too slow, they probably wouldn't have offered that to me. So it's kind of like that trickle effect. If we can think of it like that, we're the creator of I like to say the creator of our experiences. And, if we have teenage kids, I have, almost said she's 23. She's 24, 22, and 17. And so if I was to talk to one of my kids, especially my teen, like very grumpy, very judgmental, like clean your room, she's going to respond to me differently than if I was to talk to her different, maybe with teenagers. Hey, today's a great day to clean your room. Do you want to do it between 12 and 2 or 2 and 4? Give choices. I'm going to get a different response. So we are the creator of our experiences based on how we show up, what we think about, and the energy that we hold. So that's how I would say that.
I love that I actually wrote it down, creator of our experiences, because when you think about, I am a creator, you instantly, I feel like your mind instantly goes to the thing at the end, the tangible thing. What did you create? Right? Okay, here's the clay. I'm a creator. It's the vase, right? You're thinking of this tangible thing at the end of whatever work you've done. But when you say it like that, the creator of our experiences, I instantly go towards how I respond to the journey, how I respond to what's happening to me. Like you said, having the energy of abundance and gratitude rather than lack and victim, right? It's you are creating, and in the experience, you're creating the experience. I love that. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, perfect.
It sounds stupid because I keep saying it over and over and over again, but it clicked differently for me.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I'll tell you a little game I have in here. And I love it when people read the book and they message me. I had somebody message me the other day and she goes, "Holy crap, this works." And I'm like,
oh
so
my
fun.
heck, how fun.
But it's a 48-hour game. So if you're new to this and you're like, I don't know if this really works, but I'm kind of curious, it's a 48-hour game. You just set your intention to receive an unexpected gift in the next 48 hours. And you just say, I'm so open to receiving this gift. I can't wait to see what it's going to be. I know that there's miracles and blessings all around. God is a God of miracles and blessings, but you got to look for anything, like little gifts. I have gotten the most amazing things. I actually had a Louis Vuitton purse show up at my door. That's one of my favorite stories. Yes, that's in the book. And I've had things as small, well, it's not really small, but a charcuterie board. I've had flowers. I've had just, maybe it doesn't have to be tangible. Like somebody saying, I love you. I want to gift you. My mom said, hey, I want to take you out to dinner. I love you. So that's an unexpected gift. I mean, it can be so many different things. You got to look for everything. And that's another thing I do want to reiterate, is because I think sometimes people focus on the big things, especially if somebody's like really wanting more money, or they're like, I really want to get out of this big situation. You've got to take every single thing into account. It could be like, I saved $1 here. I got $5 here. It just be grateful for all of it, because it's like, if you were to get a gift from somebody and maybe they weren't giving you as much as you wanted, but it was a birthday gift and it was a couple dollars here and a couple dollars there, and you never said thank you, they're probably going to stop giving you the gift. But if you always said, thank you so much, this is just such a wonderful gift, I'm so appreciative of you, and you just are in that grateful and appreciative mindset, then it's just going to see more and more and more. That person's going to want to keep giving you a gift. If they can only afford $2, they're going to feel so wonderful that you're so appreciative. So I feel like God is the same way. Our universe is the same way. So and I would love for, anyone who listens to, if you want to play that game, just be curious, humor me, and then reach out to me and let me know what happened, what showed up, because that's my favorite. I love to celebrate with people. I love to celebrate with you. Yeah. It's fun.
Well, and I love that you're identifying, because it takes a certain frame of mind to think about what gifts are coming. Because if you miss that someone just complimented your outfit at the grocery store, if you miss that your kid didn't throw a tantrum today, I mean, these are gifts. These are gifts. If you're missing this, so like write down things. I have a happiness tracker in my community, and it's like writing down very, very throughout your day. What do you do all day long? Like, you're doing it anyway. What are the things that bring you joy, bring you happiness? Well, mine is I get up an hour early. But guess what? I do that anyway. I'm going to do that anyway. I get up an hour early, and that time for me to make my coffee, I make my coffee. I'm going to do that anyway. That brings me joy. That brings me happiness. If I can identify it as something that brings me joy and happiness, and not just another to do, I check off my list. Think about the bigger picture of your life. You're going to be more grateful, more happy, more satisfied and fulfilled if you look at it in the big picture of, everything in my day brings me joy. Everything in my day brings me happiness, right? Maybe not everything, obviously, you guys, right? If my kid's screaming at me, that doesn't bring me joy, but giving him a hug afterwards, or being able to kiss his boo-boo afterwards, right? Those are things that bring me joy. If you start like really focusing on these kind of things, and this is all part of being grateful and having gratitude, then your mind will shift. Your mind will open. You just become more open to all of the wonderful things that are happening in your life that we've been so conditioned to think are so minimal and not even worth mentioning. The fact that I can be as sick as I've been and not worry about work or money or paying bills or having a schedule. My husband said, I don't even know what today is, because for the last 2 weeks he's been hunting in the bush in Hawaii. And he's like, Yeah, he's like, I don't even know. He goes, for the last 2 weeks, I never even knew what the day was. And that's usually when we're traveling. Same thing. And I said, honestly, me too. What a blessing. What a blessing to not have to worry about what day it is. Right. But so if you miss those things because it just becomes part of your everyday, part of your natural normal, you don't stop and recognize that's something you should be thanking somebody for.
Yeah.
So I love that game. I love that. I love being super intentional. No, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a fun game. And sometimes I'll do that if I'm having an off day, if I'm not feeling that great, if I'm getting out of the gratitude and appreciation, then I will shift and I'll play that game. And I'll say, you know what? I'm refocusing, right? I'm going to play a game. Okay. God surprised me. I know you're here. I know you're there. I know you're listening. I know that everything's working out for me. I know that I'm always supported. I know that I'm always loved. I know that. But sometimes I can get off my game. Sometimes I can have an off day. Sometimes I'm not at my best. Sometimes I'm not feeling my best, and I need to. I need that pick me up, or I got to refocus, right? And that's why I titled this "Manifest Your Rich Life." It's because I talk about it, and I say rich is a mindset. I believe. This is not about, you just mentioned having a really rich life, not knowing what day it is and not having a schedule. So rich is a mindset, rich in manifest your rich life, rich in blessings, rich in miracles, rich in friendships, not always just money, even though money's wonderful and nice and that'll flow. I think when you're in this state of gratitude and appreciation and these mindsets, but rich in friendships, rich in freedom. A lot of people are tied to schedules that they don't want or they don't like. And my favorite thing to say is Jim Rohn, you're never stuck. You're not a tree. You can move, you can shift. We are never stuck. We might feel like it, but we're not. Yeah. We can make that decision to get up and move out of that anytime, but you can create a more rich, blessed life. You can be the creator of those experiences in your life, and life will be more fun to wake up to, more joyful, and you'll notice relationships will start to shift. I feel like my husband and I's relationship, nothing's ever perfect, but man, it's gotten so much better over the years. We've been married since, I think about it, 1999, together since 1995. So I was coming up on 25 years, and I feel like these practices have helped a ton. They've helped me also not react as much, to know myself more, respond differently, work on my triggers, appreciating him if you're married or you have a significant other, you know what I mean? Like the dishwasher is loaded that way, okay, but I'm going to appreciate the fact that you did the dishes. After you cook dinner, it's a mess. And I'm like, but I'm going to appreciate the fact that you cooked me dinner instead of focusing on the mess. So I think just little shifts can be such a game changer. I mean, it can literally transform your day, your week, your year, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. I can't talk enough about this. I thought that when we were like, yeah, let's get together again, and you've got this new book and I want to talk about it. And I thought mindset is really a topic that I will just talk to death about. I just believe in it so much. It's not just something you're born with, but it is something that if you're not born with it, you can fix it. It's a habit. It's just like anything. It's just like being able to wake up early in the morning. It's just like being able to go to the gym every day. It's a habit. It's something you can train yourself to do. And I love it so much. So thank you so much. Where can my guests, my listeners come find you?
Well, I'm on, the book's on Amazon, I was going to say, but my website is very easy. It's my name, KristiDear.com. So all my social media handles are the same. I try to make it easy. Just type in my name. And it should pull up.
I love that.
Oh.
I love that. Thank you so much. Well, I hope you hear from some people that have taken this challenge to try this 48-hour game. I hope you hear back. Message Kristi on her Instagram, jump in her DMs. And or absolutely reach out to me if you need anything. We'll have all of your contacts in the show notes for anybody that needs them anyway. But thank you so much for being here and recording with me again today.
Yay. Thank you, Gina. I loved it. I love talking with you. So it's so fun. I think we could talk all day.
Oh my gosh, we totally could. We'll have to do that. Not on this platform though.
Yeah.
Thanks, lady.
Yeah. Bye.